Live from the Outpost Studios in Columbus, Ohio, you're listening to All Natural Being with Brian Brawdy. Brought to you by IPMNation.com. Get ready for the gong heard round the world.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is not a drill.
All Natural Being. Warning, All Natural Being with Brian Brawdy is designed to shake your sense of self to the core.
It's full contact psychology with an empowering twist, a philosophical loofah for your soul.
For those of you not ready or comfortable releasing your inner superhuman, listener discretion is advised.
Here's your host,
Brian Brawdy.
Good evening. Thank you for stopping by and joining us. Yeah, I gotta tell you, I can't figure that out either. Thank you for stopping by. Welcome. Hanging out for the episode that I'm calling Going Topless. And I'll explain that here in a minute, I hope, if I get all this right, just in case Wayne is watching. But thank you for stopping by the 300th, as it's better known, Going Topless, or the 309th. I'm talking about All Natural Being and the gong, as you just heard, I hope, and the gong heard round the world. Still like to know what's going on with that. Broadcast as it happens, thanks to our good friends here at Telestream's Wirecast, live from the Transitional Radio Uplink here in a suburb of beautiful Columbus, Ohio. It's going to be like 59 degrees here tomorrow. I'm ecstatic. But it's broadcast directly to IPMNation.com if you're listening, or if you're watching live. It's also multicast here on Facebook and over on allnaturalbeing.com and our Brian Brawdy app as well. As always, you can follow our little soiree rebroadcast on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, Twitter for now. I keep going back and forth about Twitter. I got to tell you, greetings wherever you are here in the garden of the mortals, the labyrinth of life itself, the ups and downs, the lefts, the rights, the pivots, the swerves, the flukes and the whims, the sheer havoc of synchronicity and serendipity, blind alleys and cul-de-sacs, never a dead end, that is, until you decide to ultimately tap out. Now, it's true, life constantly comes at us. Fate is relentless, but so is divine intervention. That's been my experience. Every chop block of fate comes with a counterpunch from the Supreme. So I guess, if you had to put a label on it, you could say that life's labyrinth is the back and forth between the assault of fate and the retaliation of the divine, however you define divine. It's up to you. It's a chess match between your dynamic and the dark that pursues each and every one of us, the amnesia, the mental block that pursues each and every one of us. Either way, it's your shot at running the table, at leveling out only where and when you see fit. No permission needed from anyone except the mirror. Admittedly, you know this, only the vapid long for the committee vote, and that's not you, or you wouldn't be hanging out with us. And you know that your ferociousness is in your blood. You can feel it. Now you just have to get your mind to remember it, embrace it, and to relaunch it. And that's why you're here, why we're here, why we're all here, hopefully to be each other's amnesia buster. Your friendly blue force, cognitive left of bang, if you will. Always putting your heart's highest priority top of the list where I think I know it belongs. Reinstalling and reinstating the true wit, wisdom, and the wallop of your inner whisper. Rebooting your robust. I love this line. Commencing your counterpunch. All in time to outbrutal the brutal that is the cut and shuffle that fate can deal you on a daily basis, and to bring your own bold once and for all. Because there's a tough future that lays ahead, and you can attack that future jacked up or bottomed up. The stunning beauty of it is that you make the call. Buttoned up or jacked up, it's totally up to you. But before we hit it this evening, a quick hello to my friends here in the United States and Canada, Mexico, the UK, my good friends in Ecuador, China, the Philippines, Brazil, India, Australia, Germany, Italy, France, Nigeria, Turkey, Japan, Singapore, Thailand, Belgium, Sweden, Israel, South Africa, Egypt, Puerto Rico, Kenya, the Netherlands, Iran, Colombia, Greece, Ireland, Argentina, Peru, Austria, Poland. To those joining us from all over the globe, it truly is great to have you with us. And I really am fired up today, tonight, whatever time it is, wherever you are, to be driving your bandwagon, to be your virtual hitchhiker. Because if you're out and about on the go, then I get to ride shotgun. I get to hang with you, and I truly dig that. So what do you say? What are we waiting for? Here's our opportunity, once again, mortal up, right? Just read the sidelines. Sidelines. Headlines is what I meant. There's no finding good help these days. It's time to love the way you think. It's time to be your all-natural being. Everyone wants something channeled. Everyone wants to manifest something. You want to manifest something? Manifest your all-natural being. It's time for you to bring your grit to the relentless grip of life. So what do you say? Let's go kick in some doors, and I hope everyone had an absolutely Merry Christmas, had a fantastic holiday, and everyone's busy probably here, at least in, around the world, everyone's getting ready for... what's it called? New Year's Eve, right. They're getting ready for New Year's Eve. So we're fired up. I know that we're fired up to be doing it. So here's what we'll be doing tonight, a little bit of housekeeping. We're having a show tonight at 8:30. Normally, we would be listening in on Thinking Re-Envisioned with the incomparable Henry Noel. But I guess you can't tell who owns the radio station now, can you? Because he's busily traveling the coastal beach waters of Ecuador. So in any event, he won't be with us tonight at 8:30, the bottom of the hour. So we'll go back to, pre-recorded programming. And then after that, at 9 o'clock, Lee Rowley from Sales Copy Academy will be here for Copy That Speaks. He'll be live here in studio, and we're very excited about that. Let me say hello to Kelly. Kelly, how are you? Very nice to see you. Wayne, yep, I am. I know you're always watching. Hello, Kelly. Hello, Lee. Hello, Wayne. Thank you for joining us here at All Natural Being. As I said, a great assignment. Kelly, I was just thinking about you the other day. Thank you for your help and everything last week. I super appreciate it. Hope you're well. Hope you had a great Christmas. Lee, I thought you were in the middle of a podcast. Lee's one of the hardest working guys I know. He's got a book like every minute of his day. He's going from here to here to here to here. But we're fired up to have him in the studio later this evening. So the whole thing about going topless tonight was that, 4 or 5 hours ago, they removed there was 7 of them, but they removed the staples. So for the first time now, golly, most certainly the first time since I've lived in Columbus, the first time in over 2 years that I've been stitchless, shuntless, and stapleless now. First time in 2 years, today, right now, while we're doing the show. So I'm truly fired up about that. I tell you, I was just plain giddy to get out of that doctor's office today and go, no more shunt, no more staples, no more nothing, no more, you can't lift anything more than a gallon of milk, you can't go for a run, you can't do this, you can't do that. I am free and clear and just thrilled, just absolutely thrilled about it. Kelly says, my pleasure. I'm better at it now. I have no doubt. Andrew is listening in for the first time. Well, hello, Andrew. Thank you so very much for joining us. Hope you got some big plans for New Year's Eve. Enjoy kicking in 2019. Thank you for hanging out with us. So this evening, what I want to talk about, a little bit of a follow-up. Everyone was asking me today about Colin O'Brady, the guy that single-handedly, and by that I mean him and his sled, right? But he had all of his food, all of his communications, everything that he needed. He got clean across Antarctica by himself. So congratulations to him. And what I was amazed by was that his final push was a 32-hour straight, 32 hours, no sleep. So it makes me think of, our Guinness World Record push coming up, the 81 to win. That'll be coming up it will be ending on St. Patrick's Day of 2019. If you're out and about and want to help celebrate St. Patrick's Day with us, it will be here, or we will be here, going for the Guinness World Record of the longest call-in radio talk show. We'll be doing that, and it made me think, this guy's pulling a sled, he's in ice, he's in snow, he's in all these, right? It's just horrible weather conditions, dark all kinds of time, light all the rest of the time, uphill, downhill, crevasse, just battling it all. And at the end of the day, what's he get to do before he falls asleep? He gets to pull in, unpack his polk sled, right? Pitch his tent. Then he gets the luxury of getting into the tent, getting his boots off, right? Getting some of his heavy-duty clothing off, and then falling asleep for a little bit, only to get up the next morning, do the whole thing all over again, repack his polk, and then drag it through the wind and the snow and everything else. So it makes me think, how is it that I won't do this 81 hours? I can imagine as we get into this, there'll come a point where you go, hey, look, I'm just too tired. I just can't go on. And then I'm going to think about this Colin O'Brady guy that had to pull everything he knew for the last couple of months to make it, to be the first person ever, unsupported, ever, to make it across to Antarctica. He had to do it day in and day out. And I'm whining about, or I'll go, oh man, it's going to be kind of tiring for 81 hours. I simply cannot wait for the chance, the attempt to do that. We'll be talking about that, including, I'm very excited this weekend. I'll be hanging out with Derek Noel from Derek Noel Fitness, kind of like putting my fitness plan back together now that the doctors have given me the all clear, I forget what an all clear signal would be, but they're giving me the all clear. I'll be able to train and to run and to bike. And to be honest with you, Kelly, I mentioned this to you. I can't wait for a little bit of snow. I'm going to pack my polk sled full of all kinds of stuff, and I'm going to get a workout in doing it that way as well. But my goal is, they talk all the time about the freshman 20. Tumor. What is wrong with me? It's only a half-hour show, or I'd go into that. The list is long and deep. The freshman 20. Well, I've got like the tumor 25, maybe the tumor 29, depending upon, the people that you ask. But in any event, a part of my plan in getting ready for the 81 to win is I will lose, in training for this, probably I'm going to lose 35 to 40 pounds. That's the, you never want to go into it. Like now that New Year's resolutions are coming around and everyone's talking about it, you never want to go into it saying, oh, okay, great, I'm going to lose weight. It's how much fitness you gain. It's how much health you gain. But still in keeping with it, you balance out the amount of musculature that you gain and you take away from that the amount of fat that you lose. It's about a 40-pound swing for me to get back into it. And so I'm very excited. I'll be hanging out Saturday with Derek Noel from Derek Noel Fitness and talking about everything we need to do to be able to be in tip-top shape when our attempt comes. And again, it'll be 81 hours, but we will have the new Guinness World Record for the longest live call-in radio talk show. We'll have it by St. Patrick's Day in 2019. So thank everyone for all their suggestions, all their support. All right, don't forget, you can call us toll-free if you want to hop on tonight's show, 833-MIND-UPS, MINDUPS, just like push-ups or sit-ups or pull-ups. If you want me to do the math for you, it's 833-646-3877, 833-646-3877. And what I thought we could kick around a little bit tonight is this concept of going up against something, right? Just using superhuman strength, superhuman grit and determination, right? And we talked last evening about Colin O'Brady and what he was able to pull off. But the composition of DNA in he and you and I is really about the same thing. But what is it? What is it that we can do to be able to go after our own record-sounding attempt? And I say all the time, if it's new to you, it's an adventure. I can remember speaking before and people go, well, I don't want to walk on the moon anymore. Man's already been there. Well, if it's new to you, it's an adventure. So it doesn't matter that he's already walked across to Antarctica. What could you do that you've never done before that you're like, hey, you know what? I'd like to attempt that. I think that would be pretty cool. What could you do? Well, you don't have to mention it here, but even in the back of your own mind, what could you do if you're like, yeah, that's something I've always wanted to try. That's, my attempt at figuring out exactly what it is that I would have to do in order to achieve something that I've never done before. What would it be? And to think the same makeup. Now, there might be a few little tweaks here and there, the difference. Maybe Colin O'Brady is trained a good bit more. Maybe this and that. That's all true. But that doesn't say that you and I couldn't get ready, that you and I couldn't build, that you and I couldn't set something and go, that's a goal I want to achieve for myself. That's a thing that I know I'm talking all the time, abandon goals. Agreed, right? 20-minute victory. What can I do right now for the next 20 minutes to put my heart's highest priority top of the list? But what if your heart's highest priority is that, I've always wanted to do this. I know Andrew, if you're still listening, he's a hell of an athlete, right? But you don't have to be a heck of an athlete in order to pull something like this off. What would you do? What's the quote? What would you do if you knew you could not fail? And how can you use him? Colin O'Brady is an inspiration with everyone getting ready now for New Year's Eve. All the resolutions, the bucket list, the different things that everyone's going to do in order to prepare for the new year. What would you do? And if you remember, if you think about, we call it all the time your gas, but your grit, your agility, your stamina to keep on keeping on, what could you do if you just refuse to give up? And I think about it, for almost 2 years now, at least as I've stood here in this studio in a suburb of Columbus, Ohio, I've done so with a shunt. And it was one of my goals. When everyone around me said, no, you never pull it off. You're always going to be with that. You're going to, there's not going to be any way that you can beat this. You'll have this for the rest of your life. I remember overhearing a conversation where the doctor said, you'll define Brian as pre and post tumor. And I refused to let that happen. Now you could say, well, that wasn't very smart. Well, I'm not a very smart guy, but I'm driven. I knew that I refused to lose. So are there situations where people have counted you out? Are there situations where people have talked you down? Are there situations where you've bullied yourself? Do you look in the mirror and go, yeah, no, I could never pull that off? Right? Are there those times where you go, it's just impossible. That's for other people. It's not for me. Well, that's not true. What is it that you could do? Patricia, good evening. Thank you for joining us here at All Natural Being. All right, well, if the power's going to die, let me just do this. Thank you for joining us here at All Natural Being. And I think I also saw, right before I got my little power alarm, whatever happened there. Let me see. Go here. Patricia, thank you. Nice to see you as well. Alice, thank you for joining us here at All Natural Being. We're talking about doing something that everyone around you believes will never happen for you. That you're not smart enough, you're not fast enough, you're not beautiful enough, you're not talented enough, you're not athletic enough, right? You're not all of these things. But yet, given the opportunity, maybe you could rise to the occasion that is putting your heart's highest priority top of your list. And maybe it isn't something as crazed as making it across Antarctica. Maybe you're like, I'd like to pick up a new language. I'd like to learn this skill. I'd like to unlearn this skill, right? Maybe there's some things, maybe there's some habits that you and I would like to abandon. Well, this is the time of year to start thinking about that. What could you do if you knew you could not fail? And I'll bet you there'll be a book one day, right? You and I will be one of the first ones to buy it, no doubt. But there'll be a book that this Colin O'Brady writes about just how tough it was and how many times that he thought about there's got to be an easier way to get through life than trying to ski across the Antarctica. But I'll bet you he kept hitting it. He kept pushing it. And when it got the darkest, when it got the windiest, when it got the coldest, when it got the most uphill, I saw one account, because I've been following him on his blog, where, in the space of an hour, he fell like 12 times. The wind was just blowing him over. But here's the cool thing about that, as I'm sure he would tell you. The ability to pick himself back up, to right himself, and to keep moving forward, you possess that same ability. You possess the very same skill set that allows you to refuse to lose. As I said, tapping out only when you give yourself permission to tap out. So as you think about the rest of the weekend, getting ready into the beginning of the week and then New Year's Eve, what is it that you could do if you gave yourself permission, if you looked at yourself in the mirror and say, I always wanted to do this, I will not be derailed. I will not let fate chop block me. 833-646-3877 is the math. 833 mind-ups, just like push-ups or sit-ups or pull-ups. 833-MINDUPS. Don't forget, the bottom of the hour, we'll be taking a little break this evening. Normally, Thinking Re-Envision with Henry Noel. He's on assignment in the coastal waters of Ecuador, the lucky guy. But at 9 o'clock, we'll be back live. Mr. Lee Rowley from Sales Copy Academy will be here in the studio fighting our wind and rain to get here. He'll be here for what I think is the fifth edition of the highly acclaimed Copy That Speaks right here on TR Now. If you're on IPM Nation, you're listening in. IPMNation.com/TR Now. And, of course, Facebook. It's Lee Rowley Official, I believe, is the name of the Facebook. But we'll make sure that we post that in the thread so that you know where to go to at 9 o'clock. We've got a really cool guest tonight, so I'm excited about that as well. All right, so as we get ready to wrap here, the final 9 minutes, what would you do if you knew you could not fail? What are those things? And ultimately, what skill set would you have to learn that you couldn't learn by just using small habits right now in this moment in all of time? Right? And maybe you say, well, I've always wanted to do X, but I could never make it across Antarctica. No, but could you go? Could you make it? Let's just say if you're looking at running a marathon, could you run 100 yards? Great. Then that's all you got to do. That's your mortal up for the day. Your mortal up is I'll run 100 yards. Then could you add to that 100 yards? Let's say it's tennis. Let's say it's math. Let's say it's a book you want to read. Could you get a page? Could you have a habit of saying, okay, every day, Mike Warren, I don't know why I think today is your birthday, but Mike, if it is, I hope it's today and not yesterday. I think it's today. Happy birthday. Michael, I hope you had a fantastic holiday, getting ready for a big new year, and happy birthday to you. For folks that may not recognize the name, Mike and his dad are the two bigwigs over at GetBioPro.com. One of the things that I've used, and Mike, if you would, post the address up here in the thread. One of the things that I've used religiously, it's always with me. Here's my one of my 2 vials of BioPro, the thymic protein that I've used every day since I got out of the hospital all those days ago. So it's the one thing that I believe that I've used. It's the one thing I use to jumpstart every day. Of course, I have my bulletproof coffee. Of course, I have my hydrogen water tablets with magnesium. Of course, all of those are the things that I do. On the top of that list, right alongside, I get up, I have my BioPro, I get my bulletproof coffee, I get that all set and ready to go. Now, thanks to a blender buffer, I get to use that, keep it nice and quiet, don't wake up everybody up in the house. But BioPro, you want to check that out. Learn what you can about it because I believe it's made all the difference in the world. So, Mike, if it is your birthday, happy birthday. Kelly, nice to see you back. Again, thank you for joining us here at All Natural Being. So here's what we're talking about. If you want to give us a call, 833-646-3877. 833-MINDUPS, MINDUPS. Wayne says, tune in tonight for Copy That Speaks. Thank you, Wayne, very much. Facebook.com. Oh, it's the Lee Rowley. So that will be on at 9 o'clock this evening. Lee will be, as I said, here in studio, and we'll be having a guest that I'm very excited about as well. All right, so again, going back, the question, right? Because this will be one that will stick with you through the weekend and into next week, into New Year's. What would you do if you knew you could not fail? Are there things that you've always wanted to do and you go, yeah, you know what? I get too tired at the end of the day. I do this, I have to do that, and then there's just no time left for me. Well, what would you do if you could set aside a little time? And maybe that's as Herculean a goal as you can have right now. What would you do if you could set aside a little bit of time and go, no, here's what I'm going to do just for me. Does that make any sense? And then maybe that's your big victory for the day. Is even being able to steal back a few moments to do exactly what you want to do. And people say, oh, you know what? That's too selfish. That's too this. That's too that. It's simply not true. Well, that's too narcissistic. You can't spend time on yourself. Well, yes, you most certainly can. And you can do it without having to get permission from anyone else, right? You can do it by simply putting your heart's highest priority top of your list. And there'll be a lot of naysayers, where, like I've said before, I call them Venus flytraps with legs, walking, talking pits of quicksand that'll try to talk you out of being happy. And I'm not saying that you have to be a total narcissist. I'm not saying you have to be a total ass, right? If you set aside 20 minutes a day, 1/72nd of your day, 20 minutes, to put your heart's highest priority top of the list, to make nothing more important than you. Maybe that's a part of the challenge. Maybe that's one of the habits that you could get accustomed to. Maybe 1/72nd of your day. Just give yourself 20 minutes. What would come out the other end? What will you be able to pull off? What will you be able to do? And if you check in with yourself at the end of the week, you check in with yourself at the end of 2 weeks, and then at the end of the month, and at the end of the quarter, what would one 20-minute victory a day? Well, you got 7 of them. You got 140 minutes at the end of a week, right? That's got to total up. That's got to total up. What could you amass if you gave yourself as little a sliver of a day as possible? One 20-minute sliver to make what you want in life. I know you got kids, you got significant others, you got husbands, you got wives, you got commitments, you got all these other things. But for 20 minutes a day, right? You got dogs to walk, you got trash to put out on the curb, you got mail to open, you got bills to pay. But if it were just one 20-minute segment a day that you did nothing else but what you felt was best for your heart, what would that be? Now, here's one of the things I've also experienced. A lot of people just they just think they'll spontaneously combust if they're not busy trying to please other people, not busy trying to do for other people, not busy putting someone else's heart on the top of the list. Maybe at the end of your first 20-minute victory, you simply learn that it's not going to kill me. I will be able to survive, making the pleasure that's important to me mine and mine alone for that 20 minutes. No, you've got, what was that? So 71 other 20-minute chunks throughout the day where you can be altruistic, where you can be caring, where you can be supportive of all the other people in your life. But how about for 20 minutes being supportive of yourself and what it takes to put a smile on your own face? Because I think it's addictive. And I think that once you realize that you've done it, there'll be no holds barred. Everything will start to fall into place. And it's my belief, as you've heard me say before, that the universe kind of dovetails with someone that understands how it works. That fate will do what it can to bring the chop block, and you will do what you can to identify the counterpunch. And when that happens, real magic hits. So as you prepare for the weekend, as you prepare for the first of the year, thank you, Lee. As you prepare for the first of the year, what could you do to put your heart's highest priority top of your list? And again, maybe the very beginning is just giving yourself permission to do that very thing. And maybe it changes every day. Maybe one day it's fixing yourself a nice cup of coffee in the morning. Maybe one day it's going for a walk. Maybe it's taking a nice hot bath. Maybe it's any of those things. But the key for that 20-minute victory is just to be kind to yourself. And I think that begins to dovetail. You want to talk about a blowback? That begins the blowback. To be kind to yourself. And it rejuvenates you. And it gives you permission to be kind to other people, because everyone else wants to be running around going, oh, I'm so busy being kind to everyone else. Well, how do you know? If you haven't been kind to yourself, what the hell do you know you're even doing? One 20-minute victory, 1/72nd of your day. What could you do if you knew you could not fail? All right, don't forget, bottom of the hour, we'll be having some taped programming. And then this evening at 9 o'clock, Mr. Lee Rowley from Sales Copy Academy will be in studio, so we'll cut this down here, and then it takes me just about 30 minutes to get ready to have a guest in studio. Kelly knows what it's like. Lee knows what it's like. Henry knows what it's like. So thank you all so very much for joining us. Obviously, we're not going to be on the air Friday night or Saturday night. Might not even be on the air Sunday night. We'll wait and see what transpires, and then we're thinking maybe we'll wait and come back on the 2nd of January. But we'll keep everyone abreast. We'll keep everyone notified as to what's going on over here on Twitter. But thank you so very much. Thank you for all the support, for everything over the last couple of years. And I just can't tell you how thrilled I am to be here. And as I said in the tease, to be absolutely topless. All right, have just a fantastic evening, a fantastic weekend, and a great run-up to the new year. See you soon. What if I go Mortal Up? I like that. Wayne, I should thank you for that new logo as well. Thank you very much. All right, everybody, we're out of here. See you soon.